Well, there we are. I'm always fucking worried. Always on shaky ground there, buddy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. With Mike and Garrett's here. Hello, Garrett.
Hey,
How you doing, pal?
I'm doing all right today. Just another Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, I thought about doing a member show today. Um, and then I was like, yeah, no, we'll just do a regular show today. I mean, it's a regular show that we've been throwing in the members area once a week, but I'll wait till later in the week for that. We do have some new members. I should mention them. And most of them are names I recognize, which is great. I'm sure people, have checked out for various reasons. One being inconsistency, probably a big one. and I know it's so funny how many people have reached out to me over the years and just been like, I dropped out, man. I'm struggling to pay bills. Like, I get it. It's really tough. This economy fucking sucks. No matter what they tell you, you all feel it every day at the gas pump, at the grocery store. I mean, it's two things unavoidable in this country. You can avoid luxuries. You cannot afford gas and groceries. And so it makes it very hard to, when you got to cut shit places. But John Moon is back. Thank you, John. I know I recognize that name. I wonder if John's staring at the moon tonight too. So welcome back, buddy. Good to see your name. Also, Travis Kirkpatrick. He's been a long time guy, been around for many years. All these people at events over the years, and so forth. So we really appreciate the support. And hopefully we can make it with your support long term going forward. Those people that are members, new members, old members, will get an exclusive show every week. That's kind of what I've been doing. I'll do some more Drew and Mike best of stuff once I get the new studio up. It's impossible the way it's set up right now. You see my new Lego back there?
Yeah, I noticed that yesterday. You building a car now?
Yeah, if I panned up, you'd see the Million Falcon, as Marshall used to call it, the Million Falcon, and also C-3PO. That was one I got recently. I had to have something to do here, but that guy I picked that dude up in California. I love those bigger cars.
Yeah.
They're the Technic ones. They're a little difficult to do. They're not difficult. You just got to really pay attention. But I found it such a fun hobby. It's too bad it's so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of fun. I've done all the abusive vices over the years. I've done all those, and those don't work out great for you in the long term. Ask Matthew Perry. We'll get to him later. But this one's fun, and I don't know if it's childish, maybe. But for me at my age, it's fun.
You're happy no one's getting hurt, so just enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I look at it, Garrett. No one's getting hurt, and Marshall and I share a love for it. He's getting to that age where he's burning out a little bit on it, and I remember that when I was a little kid, like Lincoln Logs or Lego.
Yeah.
And then, you get away from it forever, but I imagine he'll circle back, and I'm trying to, make sure that his shit is intact. Cause I'd love to look back, when you're 50 years old, 40 years old, and be like, holy shit, all these ones,
yeah,
it's just like anything. If you could go back and tell your old self to, like, how about you hang on to all those Star Wars figures?
I threw away a lot of Pokemon cards that are probably worth a house.
Yeah.
A house.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I see it over at Reed and Mads. Reed's into that shit, and piles of them. And it's like, how about we keep these? He's pretty good about taking the ones that are valuable. But the funny thing about that is you don't know which ones are going to end up being really valuable. They're, like, a good example is when I was growing up, like Topps was the baseball card stuff, and the checklists. And they would just have a card that was just like it was boring as shit. It was a throwaway. You just tossed it. Well, every kid did. And so now those hold specific value because every kid was just like, I have a garbage checklist, and they just chucked it. It's like, I
play what is known as one of the most expensive card games ever, Magic the Gathering. And
I've heard of it.
There are some cards out there that, Black Lotus famously goes for like $1 million. Martin Scully, I think, has one. And he just
Yeah.
sits on it to flaunt it like he does.
Doesn't Jake Paul really get in, or one of the Logan
Yeah,
Paul, one of them
Paul
get into the
does with the Pokemon. Logan.
Pokemon? Yeah. I watched there's a series that was on it's on Netflix, Gold something. I can't remember his name, but he's a collector, big collector, and
Yeah.
tries to track down one of ones, cards with like Jordan's jersey in it or a LeBron card. And it's $1 million card, 2 million, 3 million, whatever. It's crazy. And I love that stuff. It's long been documented on this show.
Marina held on to a book of Pokemon cards. I think we valued it around $8,000 just off the internet.
Yeah. And that'll only go up.
Yeah.
And even if it goes down, it'll come back up later.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the good thing is you and Marina are old enough to be able to see that, recognize it, and go, okay, put this aside, protect it. Like, you never know when that could be. Like, I know Derek, God damn it, son. Derek, I mean, literally started collecting X-Men comic books when he was a little kid with number one, and got everyone, and every one of them was in an plastic cover, and he's got cases and cases. I mean, the value of those has to be hundreds of thousands. I mean, I don't know, but it's like he knew to take care of them right away. My
stepdad's the same way. Boxes, sleeves, everything chronological in order.
And his was like that when I met him at 15 years old. So I don't know how kids knew certain kids, but when you start with Spider-Man 1, X-Men 1, and it's like, and he knew exactly which ones were valuable, like, whatever, season 3, issue 117 is, for whatever reason, it introduces a new character that becomes really popular, and that one is super valuable, shit like that. So it's kind of crazy. Anyways, we'll get to some stories here. This part of the show brought to you by our dear friends at the Deer Lake Athletic Club. Deer Lake Athletic Club offers full gym, fitness classes, 3 pools, swim lessons, tennis, pickleball, and more. It's an awesome hang, too. The Backcourt restaurant inside the Deer Lake Athletic Club has weekly specials like Taco Tuesday, kids meals for $5 on Thursdays. That's a good one, too. You take these kids out to eat, and they order $20 worth of shit and take 3 bites of it. It drives you nuts. You want to strangle them. So kids meals, $5 on Thursdays, live entertainment on Fridays, and their newest Sippin' Saturdays. And pay attention, I had someone reach out to me asking me for more information about that. I only have the information they've provided, but Sippin' Saturdays, half off wine and appetizers. And they've got wonderful food. I'm sure the wine's great. I don't think I've ever had their wine there, but I'm sure it's as good as everything else. Call 248-625-8686 for more info. That's 248-625-8686. Or stop in at 6167 White Lake Road in Clarkston, or visit their website, DeerLakeAthleticClub.com. Thank you to those guys. And Forey, go say hi to Forey. Introduce yourselves to them. They're aware of listeners, and we can't thank you guys enough for supporting and going by and blah, blah, blah.
I can't tell you about the wine, but their whiskey is amazing.
Yeah? Did you get a special whiskey, or did you just go Jack
I just went with an old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Yep, whatever. I said whatever you guys throw in the whiskey, do it, and it was great.
Yeah, probably Jack or one of those.
Yeah,
it's good shit. I actually had a couple when I was up north golfing. They had it was a big party and everyone's partying, and G and he stuck to light beers, and I was like, fuck this, man. I'm not going with the calories of light beers. I'm going old school, and I had a couple whiskeys, and it was like, yeah.
That's how I am.
Yeah, it was fun. We didn't get crazy though, not like the old days, but just a little sample here and there. So, did you watch any of the Democratic National Committee convention yesterday?
I just didn't have time for it, but I did catch some headlines in the morning.
Some highlights. Holy shit, man. These people are unbelievable. It was painful. Joe Biden went up there and just did his greatest hits of bullshit.
Yep.
Which is just wild. Like I don't mind. I really don't. I understand there's ways to twist numbers. You can make anything look like anything you want. So when they say stuff like, "Oh, crime's at an all-time low," it's like, yeah, it's not, but I understand how you got there. Like it's bullshit, but
since yesterday.
That's kind of politics. It's like, yeah, you're not going into detail about how reporting laws have changed over 2 years ago. And so you've got probably a quarter or a third of agencies not reporting federal crime statistics anymore. And so those skew the numbers drastically when you don't, so it's stuff like that if you're kind of in the weeds on this stuff, also it's a fact. If you're in California, period, if you're in Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, probably all major cities for that matter, that with cut police forces and people just being let out, on no cash bail, that leads to stuff where people just don't bother reporting. Yeah. So a lot of that stuff is going unreported, and it doesn't mean that crime is down in any way. It's bullshit. But I understand the politics behind that. The problem I have is because I know they're all going to play their side, and here's their narrative, here's their talking points. I get all that. And you go, yeah, if you look more into that, it's not quite what it is. But this idea of this fucking dodgering old man fool kidding himself into believing he got 81 million legitimate votes is hilarious. But I understand that's deep for a lot of people, and they don't want to believe that about the system. Fine. But existential threat and democracy's on the line. Fuck off, dude. What are you talking about? These bullshit stories of he's going to be a dictator on day one. That was an offhanded comment, joke, stupid. Yeah. Stop it. Stop. No. Why are you ginning people up into thinking that this guy's bragging about being a dictator? It's not true. It's horseshit. If he doesn't win, it's going to be a bloodbath. No, it's not what he said at all. What are you talking about? Are you just banking on retarded people listening to you? And because I hear retarded people spew that, and I shouldn't call them retarded. They're ill-informed. They're ill-informed as to what was really said. They just hear talking points, and they assume they're taking people on good faith, that they're being honest brokers, and they're not. And so it's just infuriating to watch. I mean, this dipshit waddled up to the stage yesterday and just spewed nonsense after nonsense about very, very provable bullshit. Long debunked. Hey, this guy said that he praised white supremacists. There's good people on both sides. No, he didn't. Yeah. No, he didn't. Your own team has debunked that bullshit that you keep spilling. It's just crazy. It strikes me as evil on its face. It's just evil. It goes well beyond the fudging of numbers, twisting of narrative to make. Hey, I'm trying to get my side out there, and I'm fudging the numbers. Both sides do that. I get it.
Yeah, I want to counterpoint that though, calling them retarded. I do think they're retarded. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. It's because if you honestly think with our checks and balance system, our three-party system, and the fact that all of our citizens are armed in order to fight the government in case they get out of hand, that a president can just come in and be a dictator.
Yeah.
You have to be fucking stupid at this point. I can't believe anything else.
Yeah. No, but they say it so much. It's it's almost...
I don't think it's ill-informed. You just never paid attention in school? You didn't do social studies?
Yeah. No, like a really fucking basic civics lesson.
Ninth grade civics taught me all this.
Yeah. And it would tell you Kamala Harris's first plan came out. It's a fucking slap in the face. We're going to mandate prices at gas stations or grocery stores for price gauging, as she called it, instead of gouging. That is so toddler-esque, fucking stupid, tried worldwide, never happened, never work. But you're banking on people hearing something like that and going, hey, that's looking out for the American people. Yeah, these prices are out of control. It's no, you don't put the murderer in charge of the murder investigation.
I was going to say.
You caused the fucking problem. Remember when you were the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act? That was you, twat. You did that. And how's that work? That was 2 years ago when you just printed over $1 trillion and threw it in to fix inflation. How's that working for you? You just made it worse. And now you want to fucking blame the grocery store industry? And you think with what? A magic wand, you can come in and dictate? How does that work in Cuba, Venezuela, Russia? This isn't new. This isn't a new thought. You're just going to create black markets. You're going to create tons more inflation. What's that?
Breadlines. For somebody who's like kind of being accused of being a communist because her dad was provably a communist.
Yeah.
Her first big decree is let's get government mandated pricing in grocery stores, which is communism.
Yeah. It's nuts. It's
not a good look.
But people hear that. People hear stuff like that and they go, wow, she's really looking out for me. These prices are out of control. But if you know anything about it, it's like, no. When you dump a bunch of money into the economy, when the government just prints fucking money with no backing to the tune of $1 trillion, like you look at the margins of price that take for a grocery. What is it? 2%?
1.2% usually on average.
I mean, for 2%, like you're acting like they're gouging everybody. It's like, no, they're paying higher fucking wages. The food has gone up in price and the market is adjusting itself to like you fucked up inflation and you made it worse. Exactly like a lot of people said would happen is exactly what's happened. That's just simple. And so the idea that you're going to come in here and just wave a magic, like it's hilarious on its face. You don't have that kind of power. It's communist as shit. And there are papers around the country calling this out. I mean, like even the liberal press is like, okay, how about like CNN had Catherine Rampel on. She's a Washington Post columnist who wrote this headline: when your opponent calls you a communist, maybe don't propose price controls.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then I'm impressed CNN even had her on. It's hard to exaggerate how bad Kamala Harris's price gouging proposal is. It is, in all but name, a sweeping set of government-enforced price controls across every industry, not only food. Supply and demand would no longer determine prices or profit levels. Far off Washington bureaucrats would. At best, this would lead to shortages, black markets, and hoarding.
Yep.
The editorial page came out the next day and endorsed what Rampel wrote. The Times demands serious economic ideas. Harris's supplies gimmicks. They went on to point out that the grocery store industry is notoriously low margin business.
Yeah.
Like that's not price gouging at its finest. Whether the proposal wins voters remains to be seen, but if sound economic analysis still matters, it won't. If you're cynical or just observant, you might point out that Jeff Bezos also owns the Washington Post. He owns Whole Foods. So of course, he wouldn't want price controls on groceries. Pretty much everywhere you looked in left-wing media, you saw the same headline. Newsweek: Kamala Harris' grocery price gouging plan is riddled with problems, experts say. CNN push alerted their story to millions of people who read its website. Harris plans to stop price gouging could create more problems than it solves. Various CNN guests criticize Harris's plan to give new home buyers $25,000 because the plan will obviously just cause the prices of homes to increase.
Yeah.
Duh.
Quite literally how it works.
One way to read this coverage is that the corporate press is trying to help Kamala's campaign. They know the campaign is making a huge and potentially fatal unforced error, and they're trying to push them into moderating the message. That seems to be received. Andy Bashar, Harris campaign surrogate, suggested Kamala Harris just wants to break up monopolies, even though that's already a thing. We already have laws for that. I love that one. Like, we're gonna make lynching illegal. Yeah, it's already illegal. Go try to lynch someone. See how far you get with that. We've got the no lynching policy. Great. Was that a big problem? Rampant problem, lynching in America? Is that a big thing? I'm glad you guys got across the finish line. Yeah, glad we got that one, dragged that one across the finish line.
We dragged it up a tree and everything.
Yeah. Across the line and then
up the tree.
Okay. See what you did there. Smart ass. Yeah, it's just infuriating, man. Chris Wallace, I thought, had a brave take on CNN last night. I was watching this. This idea that Joe Biden was just a hero for his country. What a servant, taking the high road and taking a knee and turning it over to a younger generation. We love Joe Biden. Like, that's been the message, right? That this was all Joe Biden's decision and he made the right decision. Like, again, no, just be honest with people. I don't have a problem with you shit canning Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Should have never had him there in the first place. Some broadcasters were saying this 5 years ago. Like, saw right through what you were doing. So they attempted to turn the first night of the DNC into a loving farewell to Biden. CNN's Chris Wallace reminded viewers why he was giving a speech on Vice President Harris's nomination. Instead of accepting his own, a crowd held up "We Heart Joe" signs throughout his speech. Biden was interrupted with chants of "We love Joe." The appreciation for him did not impress Chris Wallace, who told viewers that Biden was basically forced out. The word that everybody is using to describe tonight is bittersweet. It's just bitter. The fact that the matter, and I'm not saying Joe Biden is bitter, but, it's like you've been thrown out of a window, and as you're falling, you go, gee, it's kind of nice out here.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of talk tonight about how generous it was of him and selfless of him. He was basically forced out by Pelosi, Obama, Schumer, and Hakeem Jeffries. And I suspect even that the fact that there has been this surge of enthusiasm since he left and Kamala took his place, it's got to be tough too. Of course it is. You got thrown out of a window and everybody's applauding the person who's now in the room. Biden was upset with fellow powerful Democrats, Pelosi, Obama. Biden views Pelosi as ruthless. Yeah, she's always been. Yeah. Always. It's always been about power with her. She would absolutely murder her own daughter to stay in power for an extra week.
She lets her husband fuck dudes just because it brings in more money.
Yeah, yeah. And if that leads to a fucking Craftsman hammer attack, then, so be it.
Yeah.
So be it. I'll take the sympathy from that and keep right on
DUI with a random man in the car.
Yeah, sure.
Nobody talks about that one. Paul Pelosi got caught with a man in the car and a DUI.
Yeah, well, just having a man in the car doesn't mean you were blowing each other. The hammer attack
doesn't mean they were not blowing each other.
Yeah, this is right up there. I mean, this might be a little more believable than J.D. Vance fucked a couch or Michelle Obama's got a huge cock. I don't know, but yeah, some of us keyed in on some of Paul Pelosi's behavior a while ago, and it's like, And so you're saying Gadar's going off with
Gadar went off with that one, especially once the hammer attack came out. You're like, see, this is multiple instances. That's almost proof.
Yeah. So Monday Pelosi was asked by Jake Tapper if she's spoken to Biden. She won't answer that question. Why wouldn't she just go, yeah, fuck yeah, I talk to him every day. We're best friends. No, because Joe Biden fucking despises you right now because of the coup you guys had for him. Like, and I, I get it. I get why you did. It's this bullshit narrative of like, oh yeah, Joe's super awesome. We love Joe Biden. No, nobody's ever loved Joe Biden. I've been making that point for years. Stop acting like he's the father of the country. Get the fuck out of here. He's a creepy politician, shitbag, racist, sexist, his entire life. We all agreed on that just a few years ago. So I don't know what these people are talking about. Chris Coons, who was, I don't know, he was helping out with Biden's campaign. He just switched over to Kamala. He says after the debate, there was relentless media focus on whether or not Biden was as sharp as he'd been in his 70s. Not rigorous debate about that, to be honest with you. Not really. And day after day, week after week, we could not change the subject. Fox News anchor John Roberts pressed for clarification. So what Chris Coons is saying here is basically like, Joe Biden was awesome, but the media, you guys wouldn't shut the fuck up about him being old and losing his faculties. And that's why he dropped out. So John Roberts asks, let me just add one quick question, just to put a button on this. So you're saying the reason why he's not the nominee anymore is because of the media? I'm saying that after what was admittedly a very bad debate performance, he was sick. He had traveled too much. Yeah, you're trying to blame his 2-week earlier travel to Europe. So he was back from his European trip 2 weeks ago, and he's still struggling with that. Sure. Yeah. He did not perform well. No, that he reevaluated his path forward as a candidate over the next few weeks. He gave interview after interview, speech after speech, rally after rally. The media wouldn't let him move on. Yeah, because he looked the same in every fucking interview. He looked like he was hanging on by a thread. And you were just looking for him to get through it without a massive gaffe or looking like he was going to drop dead where he stood.
Pause.
Pause. Yeah, that's what the whole country saw, Chris Coons. We all saw it. Don't act like we didn't. And the polls began to reflect that folks did not have the confidence that he could serve another 4 years as our president. Ultimately, it was the opinion of the American people and the opinion of those closest to him that mattered. I think he's made the right decision. He made the decision. Just be honest, you sack of shit. Joe Biden was clear with his decision. Clear.
Joe
crystal.
Biden hasn't made a single decision in years.
No. If Chris Coons came on and went, look, we thought we could bullshit you guys for a couple more months, drag this corpse over the finish line like we did last time. And it became crystal clear as time was going on. And after that debate performance, that we were not going to be able to just blanket lie to the country any longer. There's, some of you have seen this for years. We did a commendable job covering that up. Anything to stop Orange Man. And we were able to, we would have loved to put someone else up there, but Hillary is literally a demon witch, and most of the country recognizes that. So that wasn't an option. Bernie Sanders was very popular, but we knew behind the scenes he was a socialist fucking nightmare, and that wasn't going to fly when you put it in a general. And so we couldn't have that option. And so we propped up this fucking clown and acted like he was father of the country, Uncle Joe. And then we just hit him. We used COVID as cover, stuck him in a basement, made sure he didn't talk to anybody. We carefully scripted every word that came out of his mouth. We relied heavily on the corrupt media to run this narrative for us. And then we just, besmirched our opponent, and we were able to drag him across the finish line. There were even broadcasters out there saying a bowl of soup could have run against Trump and won. So it wasn't that it was unclear to some people, but we were able to fool many, many millions of people into believing this bullshit narrative. It became impossible to keep that up. And so at this point, we were left with no choice. That's why we ended up shit canning him and bringing Kamala in. Now the machine is turning again, and we are trying to pass that message on that she's the most popular person. And, she's the mother of the country, essentially, Mamala, if you will, looking out for everybody. So we've got to keep her quiet, keep her very, very strictly policed, because every time she gets into an open microphone, she makes a fool of us too. So we will do all the heavy lifting. She just needs to show up and wave and call Orange Man bad. And hopefully, seeing as she's mostly alive, unlike the last guy, we can drag her across the finish line in November. So that's the plan. Like, if they said that, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah. It's a plan. At least it's honest. I would have no problem with that myself. Before we get on to other things, I will end the DNC coverage with, did you see they have gender neutral Islamic prayer rooms?
How does that work? Because I'm pretty sure Islam has very, very strict gender code in their religion.
Wait, they're not all in on the
No.
I mean, I wasn't aware. I'd love to see footage of how many people are using this to go, because if you're as devout a Muslim as the ones that need a prayer rug everywhere they go so they can face Mecca and pray 5 times a day, I don't feel like those ones are struggling with their pronouns. Could be just me.
I think you're right.
I don't know. Maybe there are shit tons of them, and they're just, I wouldn't know if they were covered up in a burqa and it's like, what's going on under there? Maybe it's just a lady doing a little praying. The DNC has somebody thought it would be a good idea to create a gender-neutral Islamic prayer room at the convention in Chicago. A journalist filmed the neutral room, featured 2 prayer rugs. According to Islamic tradition, men and women are forbidden from praying in the same room. Yeah, because women are viewed as less than dogs.
Yeah,
as far as I can tell. Like, they're like the family dog holds more value than women.
For context, if you want to go in public as a woman, you have to bring a man. It could be your kid, your son, your 5-year-old boy son has more power than you.
Step further, I believe if you're home alone with your children and you want to run out to the store or something, you need permission from your son.
Yeah, your kid could be 8.
Yeah, he needs to sign off on that. So,
gender neutral.
Meanwhile, the DNC eliminated women's restrooms in the media center. Journalists can either use the men's room or gender-neutral bathrooms. Susan Ferraccio, a reporter for the Washington Times, first reported on this. So why would men's rooms be okay and women's rooms shit can? Is it? I don't understand that one.
I
Like if
don't
you,
either. I mean, some businesses do that where like if you have more men in an area than women, it's like whatever gender is just more prevalent, the opposite one becomes the neutral one. So like if they had
yeah,
more men
okay.
showing up, probably they'd probably just made the women's one the gender neutral because it was going to be less people overall.
Yeah, it's funny. I was in a Dunkin' Donuts in Northern California, and this goes back a few years. And they wanted to be on the woke train.
Yeah.
They wanted and they had taken the placard off their bathroom and put gender neutral on there. And I walk in there, and it's just a one person bathroom.
Yeah,
and it was like
it's a bathroom.
Yeah, it's just a bathroom. You go in and lock the door. Like you didn't need to go.
We've had these forever.
Like, and I love the argument too, where it's like, yeah, do you have different bathrooms for different people in your home? No, they're all fucking gender neutral.
Like, do you have a trans one? No, it's just the fucking bathroom. Lock the door.
No, it's just the bathroom. Just go in there by yourself. It's when you have, like multiple people in there, that it becomes something where you like no dude is worried about some chick walking in the bathroom. Like
No.
that's not a concern,
Yeah.
But some women, and rightly so, are a little bit fearful of that. And so that you create these spaces where women are entitled to, that safe space. I don't think that that's radical in any way.
I think that's pretty tame.
Yeah. It's just crazy. But yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't go just full gender neutral.
Yeah,
If it's like men's, unless it's just something where a chick just needs to sit on a toilet. So as long as it's got a toilet, you can claim it's gender neutral, where men's has a urinal.
Yeah, and you can't really say it's gender neutral with urinals.
I mean,
well, you could. I mean, women could stand up and pee.
Can. Yeah, just whiz into their hand and throw it into the urinal. I guess you could do that.
Well, they got that cup.
Yeah, you talking about the menstruation cup?
No.
That cup.
There's a standing whiz cup. Yeah, for women.
Yeah. It is pretty cool to whiz your name in the snow when you're a kid. Like chicks miss out on that. They would just make a mess everywhere. It'd just be a shit.
A bit of a thumb on a garden hose.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. As long as you had a toilet and a door, you could claim it's gender neutral. But this is apparently top of mind issue for people at this convention. I mean, I think they're out thinking things. They really are. This idea that we love Joe Biden, or we love, what you people need to do? Stop loving these people. You don't know them. They're supposed to work as public servants for you. So stop with this idea. Like, you should be able to look at their policies on their face and go, does this make my life better or does this not? Period. End of story. We love Joe Biden. He's the father. No, he's not the father of shit. Yeah. Neither is Donald Trump. You don't know them. You don't know them behind closed doors. You could take issue with their policies. It should end there. To me, it's as simple as that. You don't love Kamala Harris. You don't even know Kamala Harris. You probably wouldn't like her if you did. And you certainly wouldn't like Joe Biden. So
I think it was a thing with Obama where it's just bringing politicians into a celebrity status. And it definitely started with Obama, because before that, I can't remember any politician where I was like, I want to meet them,
Mm-hmm.
So I think...
You know what, dude? Clinton.
Yeah, a little bit of Clinton too, yeah.
Clinton sort of took that and ran with it. He was kind of the guy that was going to go on MTV. He was going to go on late night talk shows and play the saxophone. He was going to be on the rock and vote bus, and traveling around with young people. Like, he was kind of the one. Like, before that, they were just dorks, and most people ignored him. You got Reagan and Bush and, going back.
It was funny, too, because Reagan was a celebrity.
Yeah, it is kind of funny.
Trump,
That's funny.
Reagan was a celebrity, but I see him as a politician. I don't see him as an actor ever.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's funny.
The way you carry yourself, and I think
never even thought about
completely.
If anyone deserved the celebrity status, it was probably that dude, because he was an actual actor in California. Or Schwarzenegger. I guess he still had that, but yeah, it's gotten into this weird cultish level, and I know that's something people try to say about MAGA is the celebrity aspect of it. I think it goes deeper than that. I think there's more. I really believe it's more the Molotov cocktail in the system that they feel has abused their
100%.
power.
It is cultish, but it's not for his celebrity.
Yeah, it's and they honestly feel that shenanigans took place in and the fact that they're so defensive about that, like, no, cleanest, fairest election we've ever had in the history of the nation. Like, you were saying that the night of, like, you have no fucking idea. It's just a bullshit talking point. And, so yeah, it does feel cultish with the Trump people and wearing the fucking ear band-aid. Like, it is kind of like the face painters at a football game. There's just the celebrity culture in this country is sick. And, I've been as guilty of fanboying as anybody. So I get it. It's just these people aren't your friends. They don't represent you. They're most of them are slimy fucking liars. And the sooner we all become aware of it, the better. But, it appears to be getting worse in what we see. This love for Joe. We love Joe signs. We love Kamala. And, and it's, they're doing it on the other side too. But I think it's for different reasons.
Sides, but I just don't like the whole celebrity status of politicians now.
Yeah. Yeah.
They should be public servants, not heroes.
Yeah. No. And the biggest offenders, the ones that, have never seen a camera they don't love, they're constantly on there giving their talking points and nonsense, yeah, you'd wish they'd just be behind the scenes working hard and come out with policy that made sense for your constituency, your area. And, I don't think that'll ever happen again. So It's too powerful, too big, too bloated. And, who knows? Hopefully it doesn't come down to a situation where the Second Amendment proves to be needed for its original point.
I'll be ready.
I know. I hope we never get there, dude, but it's not, I don't know. Disney Plus has reportedly canceled the Star Wars series Acolyte.
Yeah, I heard about this one.
Yeah. Created by showrunner Leslie Headland. Let me just say this right out the gate. Do you have any idea how bad you need to fuck things up to screw up a Star Wars release?
Mike, if I may, they somehow managed to make it so that the Force is a reason why two lesbians got pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's one way to do it. This is
it was the Force. They could do that the whole time.
This is such a disservice. I'll read you the story and then we can talk about it. But on its face, like, if you're creating something from whole cloth and it doesn't find its audience, there have been things where it's like it doesn't really find its audience and cult-like status and for its greatness or how innovative it may have been until years later. And that stuff happens all the time with an artist, with an album or a movie or a TV show, that as time goes on, more people find it and it kind of gets this status. But when you take something like, when you've got the blueprint from Star Wars, when you've got the blueprint from Walking Dead, when you've got the blueprint from DC Comics or Marvel, like, how do you fuck that up?
It's like you have a minimum audience right here and now that is going to be fucking massive. All you have to do is deliver something okay.
And they're dying to love it. And they're dying to consume all of it. This bothers me so much. So Leslie Headland, who promised it would be infused with LGBTQ themes.
Yeah, she was right.
Yeah. Well, now it's shit canned after one season with dog shit ratings. Good job, Leslie. Good job bringing your ideological bend into work and forcing it on people. And they went, yeah, even with Star Wars, this is a bridge too far. Sorry.
It won't go broke.
Yeah, I know. Dude, it's a cliche statement. I hate it. Go broke. But it's
proving time and time again.
Yeah, it's proving time and time again. Lucasfilm has opted out of having a second season for the female-centric series. The 8-part series launched on June 4th after scoring numerous glowing headlines that helped it land a strong opening. However, it struggled with lukewarm reviews, poor ratings, fell out of the top 10 by the third week. The series remained there until the finale, when it finally cracked the 10th spot with 335 million minutes, something that is believed to be the lowest ever for a Star Wars finale. The director previously talked about how her new series wasn't going to be like what the fans had seen in shows like The Mandalorian or Andor. New series looked at the Jedi as an institution. Good ratings. What's that?
She literally said, let me take the two recent, well-received properties from Star Wars and not do that.
I'm going to go
That was her logic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. So, yeah, the Jedi I viewed as an institution, as a concept, as an entity that had amassed a lot of power, and that's good. I'm not saying that's wrong, but you sort of are because you changed it. Had two lesbians knock each other up with
the Force.
The Force. You got the Force. I think you're seeing
pregnant.
the Jedi when they're I mean, I guess Lord Vader would just fucking choke a bitch. He would fucking choke a bitch out with the Force. That was kind of cool. I don't know how you'd impregnate one though.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, blah blah blah. They're let's see, they're closer to who they are. I think you're seeing the Jedi when they are this very, very large institution, but they are closer to who they are in the Phantom Menace. Obviously, the original trilogy. Before the series aired, Hedlund said that her Star Wars series would be coded queer. Good. Smart. Now you're thinking.
Yep.
Now you're thinking. Like Frozen. This type of talk, by the way, is so fucking infuriating to me because George Lucas took like career risks to get this made the way he wanted his original concept. Like, hey, Leslie, this isn't yours. This isn't yours to interpret any way you want. This world was created. It's like, I hope no one takes, J.K. Rowling's work and decides they're going to interpret, what she meant with Hogwarts into something totally different than what the original intent was. It's like, this was the fear with Disney buying this and then having a board the way they do. Yeah. Like you could see this shit coming. You figured it would be watered down garbage at some point. Jay used to bitch about it all the time. I didn't see it going like this, like radical, like, oh yeah, we're going to code it queer. Like, because a lot of people are asking for that. Is that what you're thinking? So she wanted to code it queer like Frozen. Now, I'll admit, I've never seen Frozen.
I've seen Frozen. There's not much queer shit going on. It's actually a story about two sisters. Yeah. So if you think that's queer, I got some news for you.
Yeah. So incestual, maybe. I mean, is that the point that the sisters are finger banging?
No, they actually both end up finding love with men.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah. How's that queer?
That's weirdly coded.
Yeah, and the snowman is non-sexual. The reindeer doesn't do anything crazy. I think we're in a lot of straight territory.
Yeah, and as a gay man, were you able to enjoy it anyways?
Oh yeah, it was all right. I don't like musicals too much, but it's a fucking Disney movie.
I know the kids love it.
Yeah.
When I saw Frozen as a grown-ass woman, I hate when chicks, whatever. As a grown-ass woman, you can't just say as a grown woman. When I saw Frozen as a it's got to be a grown-ass woman. Yeah.
We get it.
You're a tough lesbian. You're
a really Frozen. Okay.
Yeah. When I saw Frozen as a grown-ass woman, I cried through the entire through the entire movie. There was just something about the relationship between the sisters, the like devilinization of the classic kind of fairy tale bad guy, the concept of true love being between two sisters and not a heterosexual relationship. It just destroyed me completely. I thought, gosh, I would love to make something like this, for lack of a better term, Disney, meaning something that like my parents would have allowed me to see when I was a younger queer person, but I would have been able to understand as a queer person. And I think I would have had completely different life. And so I was really inspired by it. Like, God, I would love to make a story like this. Leslie Hedlund spoke to The Advocate. That's a gay outlet, right? The Advocate?
Yeah.
About having representation on The Acolyte and fully intending to allow her own personal experiences as a queer woman to shine through the finished product. You know what? You're doing a disservice, by the way, Leslie, to queer people everywhere. Because if there's, when you do this and try to force feed your world, go make your own movie. Go ahead. Go make your own queer story movie about you. Go ahead and see if you can sell that to the masses. That's how you do that. No problem with that. You want to go make a movie and you think it does, and believe me, if it's critically acclaimed, as if that matters anymore, but if it's great on its face, it's a great story, Americans will fall in love with it and you will get that respect that you're going for. When you take something like this and pervert it into your own ideological bend, you're not doing a service to the queer community by fucking something up, by having it last one season and then being thrown on the garbage pile of history with the starting line of Star Wars. How do you fuck that up? If you're ever fearful that queers don't get fucking fair representation, you're not helping that cause. You know how you help your cause? By just being what you are and going and hitting a fucking home run, an undeniable smash hit, keeping in the world that was created for you, doing it justice, showing it respect. And then people go, wow, queer people, as if they don't already think this. Yeah. Queer people can do anything straight people can do. Instead, you brag about throwing queerness. Oh, yeah, queer. Like, good. How did that work out for you?
And then overall, if your point is to try and elevate the queer people, all you're doing is making us look like dumbasses and turds who want to ruin everything. Yeah. It's like you're throwing us under the bus here.
Dude.
Yeah.
You look like bummers.
Great. The gay Star Wars fucking failed. Thanks.
Yeah.
Now we don't get gay Star Wars.
Thanks for taking something that can't fucking lose. You've been handed a winning lottery ticket and you lit it on fire. Nice job.
How did you do worse than the Christmas special, woman?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But dude, I was watching, I mentioned to you, I was watching The Walking Dead. The one where people live or something like that. It's called with the return of Rick and Michonne. And dude, G and I watched episode 1, and it focused mostly on Rick, and it starts with this scene where he cuts his own hand out. Like it's pretty cool and it's tense. And Rick is, Andrew Lincoln is a great actor. He's a really great actor. He was on that series for years. And I thought Michonne's character was fucking dynamite when they introduced her. It was great. It was great. 2 fucking badasses. One is a female, black female at that.
Yeah.
One is this hardcore white dude, whatever. When you start getting into the romance of them, I'm like, I just don't get it. And so I'm watching episode 2 yesterday, and all of a sudden a fucking little person comes traipsing into the fucking scene, this pug-nosed little person, overacting his ass off. Overacting like you can't. It's like, this is kind of what I think when I think of these guys as actors. Outside of Dinklage, who's amazing. Peter Dinklage is fucking amazing. Most of little people actors, and it's probably because there's like 10 of them.
It's all we know, though, is their elf roles.
Yeah, well, they all seem like they overact like crazy. Like it's just, it takes me right out of it. And I can't help but go back and like, really? So we're to believe 10 years into the apocalypse that the fucking deaf are running the show now? Really? Where did your balls go? These would be the first people eliminated. The first. Yeah. You know who else would? The fucking midget community. Yep. They would be on a fucking barbecue spit.
Can't run as fast as everyone else.
No. What happens to the fucking wounded animal, wounded gazelle in the Serengeti? You think the fucking animals run past him to get to the speeding gazelles? No, they take the easy one. It's exactly how this would play out. That guy walks at fucking 1 mile an hour, shuffling to and fro. No, he would not still be there 12 years later. Sorry. And it was the overacting. It was just fucking unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's like, what did you do to these beloved characters? And it's like, everyone's in an interracial relationship. It's like, boy, oh boy, I know, like I have family in interracial marriages. Of course that exists. And it's great. I wouldn't change a thing, but to act like every single relationship on The Walking Dead is either interracial or gay, like really?
It just so happens to be,
And so apparently the gay and they're the only ones that survived, the deaf, the fucking midgets. And I don't know. But, I was telling G, I was like, dude, we got to keep watching this. This is fucking hilarious. Hilarious.
It becomes a clown show after a while.
It was. And it's like, I'm watching Andrew Lincoln in an isolated scene. I'm like, yeah, this guy's fucking great. He's incredible. And I know Michonne. What is her name? Danielle. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. And I've watched her be fabulous over the years.
It's Denai Guerrera.
Denai is great. And it's like they show him making out at the end. And I'm like, this just doesn't even feel believable.
Yeah.
And like, it just didn't seem like romance was top of list in an apocalypse.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
You know what I mean? Like this idea of she leaves the kids back in another state while she goes to search for Rick, who's been missing for 6 years, that she's still in love with. And they like, really, that's how that would go? Like, usually, no. Historically, no.
Yeah.
It's not how that would go. By the way, you said something interesting yesterday about how they diverged from the comics, like right away, like after
pretty early on. I think like towards the prison scene sort of stuff is where they kind of go, and they already were diverging a little bit.
Negan was part of it, right? The comics.
They come back in and weave back out. It's weird.
Okay, so we're like, so they're taking liberties, and
a lot of liberties.
So I'm assuming the farm was a real thing.
Yes, the farm happened and all that happened, except it was even crazy. I think, you know how they revealed the zombies and stuff? That old man Walker, whatever. I think in the comic book, they shoot him on the spot for that.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're talking about
it's been a while. Yeah.
He had all of the walkers trapped in a barn or something, and then they found out.
Discovered it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what was that again? I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Garrett, but what was the reason he was doing that? This is the two granddaughters or daughters of the old man.
Probably just waiting for a little cure.
He was waiting for, it was something like that. Like his wife was mixed up in that, and so he was secretly hiding them. It was a great storyline at the time. See, I could totally say that with the comics. That's what they would have done.
Yeah.
Robert Kirkman would have just murdered the guy on the scene for risking the safety of
I'm trying to make sure I'm right about that too, because I know there's probably some nerd right here like, no!
Yeah. Not that it matters, but, I assumed like the prison stuff was in the comic. The farm was in the comic. The original storyline was in the comic. Negan was in the comic. But I don't know where it, but now, this, it seems like they're really more interested in romance for some reason that seemed irrelevant when it was in its heyday and great. And also, pushing, ableist opinion.
Yeah, that's what I was like trying to find that word.
Yeah, it's like, ableists have had it too good for too long. Even in the apocalypse, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm sure. I can't wait for the paraplegic to come fucking wheeling up in the next episode. As if he's still hanging around 12 years later. Like it.
Yeah.
Like at what point? I literally, and I didn't mean to. I was trying to get in. I literally laughed out loud when this dude came waddling, and I was like, oh my God. They're actually going to try to fucking sell this to us.
It's ridiculous too, especially in an apocalypse situation. Like I'll put it this way: it's like if I broke my glasses in the apocalypse, unless I can find something similar, I'm going to have a very fucking hard time surviving.
Yeah, you sure are. Doesn't mean the world's created equal for everybody.
So how's this guy got a wheelchair for 12 years and he's just okay?
Yeah. And their batteries all still work in their walkie-talkies.
Yeah. By the way, chargers, but whatever.
By the way, Blake Lively is in some shit. She fucked up bad.
Ryan Reynolds, the one who's cucking me from him.
Yeah, dude. God, is he the best? He's just the best.
I
fucking love that dude. I don't care how hot he is. He's funny as shit. She apparently she's out promoting the drama It Ends With Us, and some asshole had to go dig through her world and find comments she made somewhere. One user posted a screenshot of an old quote of hers. She said, I hope to have a few girls one day. If not girls, they better be trannies, because I have some amazing shoes and bags and stories that need to be appreciated. You see what she did there?
Yeah, the trannies is a harder word, but
yeah,
I don't mind it. Some other people do.
No, trannies, back then it would have been transsexuals, right? That she's referring to.
Or transgenders.
This is like pulling up old video of Walter Cronkite doing the news and saying Negro. Two Negroes were killed and blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's, times have changed this and that, but I guess intent doesn't matter to anybody anymore. And it's just like, haha, gotcha. You said tranny. I got a newsflash for you, ex-user. Tons of people did. Tons still do. It's like homos. Homosexuals, homos, trannies.
It's short.
We do it with lots of stuff. It's almost no different than sus. You say sus to everything because suspect is too long. Suspicious.
Well, it's like calling somebody an AM because them was too long.
Yeah, exactly. AM. Yeah, like we do that with all kinds of stuff. all the time. Like the controversy here is beyond me. Let's make sure Blake Lively, if we have a say in this, let's make sure she never works again. Fuck her.
Obviously,
we're entitled to pull the plug on her world and make sure she never
shorten
works
a
again.
word on a platform that causes you to shorten your words because you have a limited amount of characters.
Well, she said this in an interview in a magazine.
Oh, okay.
10 years ago. 10 years ago. It wouldn't bother me today, but it's like, holding people to account for bullshit they said decades ago. Like this is such a losing game. But she made the statement in 2012 to Elle magazine. The post blew up online, of course, as these all do. Some annoyed that she would use that word. Others defended her. Blah, blah, blah. The article, let's see, this article was published the same month. She said that this quote, by the way, to suggest using the term as a straight woman was acceptable in 2012. Yeah, someone who was alive in 2012, it was very acceptable.
Yeah.
You might not have liked it, but lots of people used it all the time.
100%.
You didn't even get pushback on saying tranny in 2012. So you're delusional if you think that, sure, you can piss people off. We're pissing people off right now using it today in 2024.
Back in the time where Call of Duty lobbies were still N-word riddled places.
Yeah, for sure. So, blah, blah, blah. She should have, at best, this is straight up ignorant. At worst, she should have known better. The article quoted an 2009 interview Lively did with Allure. She said, I feel like a tranny a lot of the time. I don't know. I'm large. They put me in 6-inch heels. I tower over every woman or over every man. I've got this long hair and lots of clothes and makeup on. I just feel really big a lot of the time. And I'm surrounded by a lot of tiny people. I feel like a man sometimes. So you can see exactly what she's saying.
Yeah.
So she's comparing a man who identifies as a woman. And keep in mind, that goes back to 2009. You're talking about over 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Talking about that 6'2" guy who's throwing on heels and a dress. She's making the comparison to that. Yeah, they doll me up. They throw me in these 6-inch heels. I'm already tall. So now I'm towering over men. I feel like one of those trannies.
Yeah. Which at the time, that's kind of what trannies look like. They're very tall women, dolled up in makeup and big hair.
Yeah. Kind of how it works. I used to see them in Royal Oak. They were hilarious.
Yeah.
Ferndale. Yep. If she had come out in this interview and said, I got to bring this up. I know we're here to talk about my movie, but fuck trannies. We should all be kicking the shit out of them when we see them in the street. That's a different thing completely. That I would be all on board with you going, it seems a bit transphobic, taking a break from talking about this movie to just remind people that trannies suck. Man, if you see them out in public, we might want to slap them about the face. Like
on site, let them know you're mad.
Yeah, let them know we're not going to take this. Like that would be a different thing. Like, I don't know. Matthew Perry in the news.
Yeah, famous ketamine user.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy, he kind of had me fooled. Although he never looked good, but I just assumed that he was dealing with the fallout from years of abuse.
Yeah.
Not that he, because he went so fucking far to show people that he was like here to help people with, substance abuse issues. And he was starting fucking, clinics to help. He was really going far. I feel like if you're doing that and hiding it and whatever, just lay low, just do your shit. You don't need to. But there's something about the fame. It's making a lot of headline. I saw headlines in the Detroit Free Press. I don't read the Free Press, but I saw one of them. They're like, oh, his assistant was from Midland, Michigan. They love to have some fucking local connection, as if anyone cares. But yeah, I was reading Maureen Callahan's article about Matthew Perry. Some of this pulled from his book, and some of them I'm not aware of. I'll read it to you. It's fairly interesting. We're learning a lot about how he died, all of it sorted. And keep in mind, this is coming. I'm someone who's a huge fan. When I'm on Facebook and Facebook videos pop up, I've got so many of them come up from Seinfeld and from Friends. Yeah. And I still think they're great. Matthew was clearly sick, and that sucks. But before the grace of God, go I. Is that how the saying goes? Like, I get it. But it is what it is. So the doctors who prosecutors say illegally supplied him with hardcore opiates the live-in personal chef or assistant who often injected him with drugs, the near-death experience that did nothing to deter his dealers, enablers, or Perry himself. Shoot me up with the big one. That was Perry's final instruction to his assistant, Kenneth Iwamasa, on the day he died, having already received 2 ketamine shots, one at 8:30 in the morning, another around 12:30 that same day. The third shot, the quote, big one at Perry's demand, was injected by this dude just 40 minutes later, and then he left to run errands. Perry, high and alone, climbed into his hot tub. Yeah, maybe he wanted to die. Maybe he, who knows? That's her thought, is perhaps. To be clear, if guilty, those who were charged with supplying Perry with black market ketamine, Dr. Salvador Plasencia or Dr. Mark Chavez especially, should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. They exhibited craven greed at the expense of a very sick man. At one point, Plasencia, who has pleaded not guilty and was known as Dr. Pete, gloated about aggressively overcharging Perry, texting Chavez, "I wonder how much this moron will pay."
I don't think they should go to jail for the drugs, but they should go to jail for that price gouging.
Yeah. And this is, when you're making $1 million an episode,
what's it matter?
It doesn't. And this is way more common than you think, and people want to be close to celebrity. This doesn't surprise me. We've seen this with celebrities forever. Michael Jackson's a great example, and they would have just got it somewhere else anyways, because there's always, we like to, and I'm guilty of this as much as anyone, of putting doctors, surgeons, lawyers on this moral high ground and people to really be looked up to as better than they're not. They're human beings. And there's been plenty over the years that listen to this show and they laugh at the same shit you do. They just happen to be smarter and applied themselves more, but they're as, capable of being, star fuckers as anybody. They just are. And so this idea that they're all levitating above us in some way, above, reproach, they're just not. They're just not. They're human beings too. And it doesn't surprise me at all when you read these stories, about doctors. And most of us think of our doctors like, my doctor would never do that. It's like, yeah, well, there's a lot of them that will, especially in LA, a lot of them. I mean, shit, look what they're doing with plastic surgery. You think those people give a shit about the health of their patients?
We've had moments close to home too, where my mom came home one day, just, God damn it, fucking angry, right? I was like, what's going on? She's like, yeah, my doctor just got indicted.
Yeah. I had one. Get indicted. He was a feel good too, man.
She had to go find a new doctor. She was mad.
Yeah. What was your hot mom's guy doing?
Just probably I didn't get any of the details of
was
what
it like over prescriber
and stuff. Yeah, overprescribing. Probably a few more benzos than you should be giving out.
Yeah, and I think my guy was used. I don't think he was nefarious. I think he was too trusting and believed people, and I really do. And you could tell how important it was. How important it was to him to be liked by everybody, and he was kind of a goofy, dorky guy, and it's probably, I kind of felt bad for him. You could see it in his office how out of control it was getting. And he went down. He went down for the same shit.
Yeah.
And but I don't think he was like this. Like, wonder how much this clown will overpay for this shit. I don't think the guy I knew like that. But Matthew Perry was hardly a moron. So this goes to overcharging, Perry texting Chavez. So one doctor texting the other doctor, I wonder how much this moron will pay. So Maureen says, but Matthew Perry was hardly a moron. He knew exactly what he was doing. And that's kind of my point in all this. Like, at no point, no matter how deep I got, was I under the delusion of anything. I knew exactly what I was doing. It's why I've had orders like, no, don't go after low-level street guys.
Yeah.
Like, they're, this is the way they're carving out a living. It's gone on forever. It'll continue to go on forever. I don't want to destroy anyone's life, because at the end of the day, I'm the one responsible for my shit. I just am. If I get fucking huge, it's not the airplane industry's responsibility to make sure that they fucking triple the size of their seats for me. It's not how it works. Take some personal responsibility for your shit. You can be honest, and you can still be a sack of shit in life, but just be honest about it. Be a fair broker about it. It was Perry who demanded the ketamine at whatever price, and eye-popping $55,000 to Placentia in a single month. And it was Perry who found another source of supply, street dealer Eric Fleming, who connected the actor and his assistant with Jasveen Sangha. That's the ketamine queen we've talked about. In the weeks leading to his death, Perry was shot up in the backseat of a car parked outside an aquarium in Long Beach. Days later, he froze up, unable to move or speak after a home injection by Placentia. Hours after Perry had taken a supervised dose of ketamine at a medical facility, he was getting injected by Iwamasa 6 to 8 times a day and was found unconscious at least twice. Matthew Perry felt the rules didn't apply to him. No, he was sick. He was sick, and he had the means. Like that's what this is about. It's very, when you see someone that literally has the money to keep going with their habit, it's exponentially harder. What most people run into is they go broke. And so they resort to fucking breaking into neighbors and family members' medicine cabinets.
Yeah.
And they like, that's where it goes dark. You start stealing from people to fund your habit. When you have people that have the means and can't spend it all in a lifetime, you need to be like, it's a forced retirement from the drug game, either death or, getting to a point where I can't continue to rob family and friends. And
I was going to say legal. That's
you get into
maybe jail time with no drugs.
Yeah. Matthew Perry loses a job. Who gives a shit? The guy's got $200 million in the bank. Fuck, what does he care?
He gets $1 million a week from his fucking restreams and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. He's making millions and millions and millions of dollars a year just from that thing being in circulation still. So for, you can imagine if that check comes in, no matter your behavior, no matter how you behave, no matter what you do, the rest of us in the real world can't go to work hungover, reeking like a booze factory every day and expect that you're going to keep that job. And you lose enough jobs and you're unemployable. Matthew Perry, was never in that position. This makes perfect sense. So he didn't think the rules apply to him because they didn't. Essentially, he did. No. There's no consequences when you have. Maybe you lose relationships. Maybe friends give up on you. But real consequences in life, like and winding up on the streets destitute, no, it's not the case for guys like Matthew Perry. I think about all the doctors and nurses at the UCLA Medical Center for saving my life, he wrote in his memoir. I am no longer welcome in that hospital because he got caught smoking in there. This is the same guy who crashed his Porsche into someone's living room and walked away with no arrest, no criminal charges. Why wouldn't he feel entitled? He was rarely, if ever, held to account. All evidence points to Perry at the end refusing help, instead indulging the very darkest parts of himself. He wrote of his own amazement at being alive. 55 Vicodin per day, more than 65 detoxes, $9 million spent trying to get sober, 14 surgeries, an exploded colon, and 9 months with a colostomy bag. Addiction has ruined so much of my life, it's not funny. I will always have the bowels of a man in his 90s. The scars. My stomach looks like a topographical map of China. He knew that touching alcohol or drugs would only end one way. I don't have another sobriety in me. It's going to kill me. Perhaps that's why he pushed so many people away. Angry and mean, one friend said of his final days. He threw a coffee table at his fiancée, Molly Hurwitz, when she confronted him about cheating with a 19-year-old and broke off their engagement. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. His longtime sober companion, a woman named Morgan Moses, was described by Perry as the single nicest person in the world. He reportedly shoved her into a wall and then onto a bed. That's to say nothing of the very young woman Perry was asking to deliver him drugs, or the nurse who quit the profession after working with him, or the ex-girlfriend who threatened to sue him for getting her hooked on drugs and was only silenced by a settlement and an NDA. Or of allegedly throwing things and punching walls in fits of rage, or telling terrified women in his life, if I wanted to hurt you, I would have. Perry, it's clear, had problems with women. He also hated himself. Most of the time I have these nagging thoughts. I'm not enough. I don't matter. I'm too needy. I need love, but I don't trust it. If I drop my game, my Chandler, and show you who I really am. You might notice me, but worse, you might notice me and leave me. So I will leave you. These are all very real feelings. I can identify with a lot of these.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to push through and be a better person and, believe in yourself on any level, that I'm needy and lonely and I'm a fucking, I'm dragging family or friends down. I'm a drain on them. Like those are real. I believe every one of those feelings for him. And it happens with a lot of us that have spent our life seeking approval from strangers, whether that's a radio show or a TV show, like that's a common thought. Like if they see the real me, they'll really fucking hate me and leave me. Like those are dark places that probably the majority of people you look up to and idolize as celebrity on whatever level are feeling. The majority of them, I would say. Most of the time, let's see, Perry would have turned 55 yesterday. It's quite possible he wanted to die young, or at least he knew he would, leaving before doing more harm. He never seemed to have grown beyond Chandler, beyond friends, beyond envisioning himself as Batman. Matman, he called himself.
Yeah.
He never outgrew his teenage longing for wealth and celebrity as the ultimate drug. Absolutely. That's a real feeling that a lot of these people have. I was pretty sure that fame would change everything, and I yearned for it more than any person on the face of the planet. I needed it. It was the only thing that would fix me. I was certain of it. Fame and wealth were probably the worst things that could have happened to him. It's how he got away with being a drunk, drug-addled wreck on Friends, admitting to downing at least 16 drinks a day while on set. Only sober for one reason. Jennifer Aniston confronted him about it. We can smell it. He was so unintelligible during one table read that the whole cast forced an intervention. But Friends was such a cash cow that it's easy to imagine network execs being unwilling to remove Perry from filming, even temporarily.
Exactly.
That statement is 1,000% true. I've seen that stuff with my own eyes. There is no fucking doubt when that money is coming in and you have top ratings, everything else doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't fucking matter. End of story.
Look at the NFL. They've been doing it forever.
Yeah. It happens so often, and it's so true. I would show up blindly hungover, he told Diane Sawyer, shaking, crazy hungover. But the show must go on, right? After Friends, he found another way to perform, that of a finely clean, chastened megastar who is just here to help. He claimed to have been 18 months sober while promoting his memoir, selling a lie that was perhaps his last and greatest high. Yeah, it's a terrible story. It's not the last time we'll read that story. Insert actor's name here, insert performer's name here, insert family member's name here.
I was going to say, I'm thinking more and more it could be a suicide situation. A classic, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And if he's got demons in his closet that were probably on their way out,
die a hero. That's a leap I'm not willing to take yet. I can understand.
I'm not saying it's confirmed, but I can kind of see it now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Especially somebody who kind of knows their way around ketamine.
Yeah. I don't know anything about ketamine.
It is easy to fuck up on.
Oh, I'm sure all these drugs are. Fentanyl's the one. Fentanyl's the one that's poisoning the nation.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the one that's very, very small doses will kill you. And it's very easy to get a small dose in something else. I
had a buddy telling me, like, no, dude, because I was like, what kind of pussy takes fucking a quarter of a fentanyl pill and drops dead? And it's like, no, dude, what's going on with that drug is way more than you even realize. Because, dude, there was a day I was getting fentanyl, right? Yep. I don't know if I've ever talked about that, but fentanyl patches.
Yeah, my great aunt got them before she died.
Yeah, like 20 years ago. And it was like, so I was computed with that, like, yeah, whatever. Fentanyl, it wasn't, it's a heavy narcotic, but and it's like, no, dude, those stories about cops like touching the shit and falling over are apparently true.
Yeah.
And it's, it's more criminal than when the DNC, right now is more concerned about, representation in the fucking Muslim prayer room, gender neutral prayer rooms. When that's more important than really addressing, and I'm not letting the RNC off the hook here, but these politicians, it's more front of mind just because last night it started. But it's criminal what's going on. And the fact that it's a talking point and nobody's really doing anything. We know the line that this is taken from China. I mean, there's no other way to look at it than this is meant to destroy a generation of young people. Yeah. Like, you want to topple America, this is how you do it. You fucking wipe. I mean, and China would know. China had 400 years of this shit with opium, where they fucking destroyed their own.
We did it to them.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it to talk.
I believe it was the British who were introducing them to the opium and everything like that, and that's what opened up the Hong Kong opium dens.
And I think it was 400 years of shit that they went through. You're talking about an empire. It's not a nation. It's an empire. It's thousands of years old. We're 248 years old. So they've seen this, been through this, and they know the destruction it causes. So ship that down to Mexico, open the Mexican border, and let these fucking people, dealers, walk it across the border, ship it across the border, and you're seeing it take people out. And if you look at overdose deaths from fentanyl alone in the United States in 2023, it's 112,000. Over 112,000 Americans died from fentanyl. I mean, that's the Revolutionary War killed 70,000 to 116,000. Estimates are 70 to 116,000. Fentanyl was that much in a year in this country. The Balkan Wars, the Revolutionary War, the Balkan Wars, 140,000 people. You look at the Lebanese Civil War, 120 to 150,000 dead. That was from 1975 to 1990. Insurgency in Laos, 100,000 people from 75 to 2007. So that's 85, 95, 05. That's 32 years of war. Didn't kill as much as 1 year of fentanyl in this country. The Gulf War, from 90 to 91, 25,000 to 40,000 people killed. The war in Afghanistan, 2001 to 2021. You're talking 20 fucking years.
Yeah.
Killed 212,000 people. 20 fucking years of the war in Afghanistan. 200,000 people. And we have 112,000 in one fucking year in this country. Do you realize? Off one drug.
Yeah.
One drug.
Not even including all the other ones like heroin overdoses and things like that.
The war in Iraq, somewhere around 195,000 people. That went from 13 to 17. It's insane. It's insane that it's not even on the news.
No.
Like what little news I watch, you don't see this. See anyone writing about it. And I think it just comes down to, these fucking degenerates, they did it to themselves. Oh, another druggie lost his life. Oh, it's the same way women go missing all over the country. It's like, she was a prostitute. What did she expect was going to happen? Yeah. They're not even looking for the fucking John that murdered her or the fucking, dude that killed the prostitute. No one cares. She was a sack of shit anyways. Fuck her. It's that kind of attitude. The problem is you have these young people that are, looking for something totally different. They're being fooled. They're not thinking they're buying Coke. They think they're buying some Adderall to keep them up at night to study for finals, and they're dropping dead.
Yeah.
Like that's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But, apparently it doesn't matter in this country to people in power. They're more worried about gender neutral fucking prayer rooms. Like, incredible. What were you going to say, Garrett? I'm sorry.
Oh, there's because we talk about that. This stuff does not get covered at all in mainstream news. There's a news guy I watch, Andrew Callahan, Channel 5 on YouTube. Mm-hmm. He did just 7 months ago. It's one of his most popular videos ever. He just walked around the streets of Philly and talked to the people who were overdosing on the spot. And he ended up on the spot. These people are admitting to fentanyl. They're overdosing in front of them. They had to turn the cameras off multiple times.
Yeah.
It's the most fucked up thing I've ever seen. And it's just him walking around a regular city street and talking to people.
Yeah. Dude, when I was in San Francisco just a few weeks ago I took Marshall up there.
Horrifying.
Dude, it is incredible when you drive around the streets. Sorry, my neck's hurt me. It's incredible. And then you Google like what's going on. You know what stories pop up? Hey, don't be worried about, or the fentanyl lean, it's called, or and they're all bent over at the waist. And I took pictures of some of them. I haven't shown them here, but you're just driving down the street. My sister's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yeah, there's
it's
another
the
one. And the fentanyl lean. And these guys are just, high as balls walking down the middle of a street. Like,
I've seen it in Detroit just the other day.
Yeah, you should see it in San Francisco. Like, if you want to know where this leads to, go look at that shit. Go look at that. And, it's on every street corner. It's everywhere. And, I don't know what you do about it. What they're doing isn't working. But until you crack down on the Chinese government, until you actually have real
border security.
What's that?
Border security.
Yeah, border security is incredible. That's a no-brainer.
It's not just people we're talking about. It's also what they're bringing with them.
But it's coming from higher levels. It's not coming from street people.
No, I'm talking about like the shipping companies coming through. And border security isn't just the people jumping the wall. There's also the stations that you have to pass through as a vehicle or something, or a semi-truck.
Yeah. And if you don't crack down on the cartels and their behavior, and if you don't start cracking down on China with real sanctions on some level, like, the world's not going to do business with you if you're just murdering citizens this way. This is intentional, is what this is. This is nothing but absolutely knowing what you're doing, intentional behavior to destroy young lives in a country that is an enemy of yours. That's what's going on here.
Mind you, I'm very pro-drug. I just kind of wish we kept to American-made drugs and less this fentanyl weird, shady shit that keeps getting through shit.
I'm as pro-drug as they come. I totally get it. I am. But this is unacceptable. Like,
exactly.
If these kids knew what they were buying, and you go, yeah, man, we've all been there, being young and trying shit. When I was a kid, a lot of kids tried weed. Ooh, and you hope it doesn't escalate to heroin. But
I'm on heroin, Mike.
Yeah, you knew what you were getting, though. You knew that was never in question. Never. Like, the worst thing that would happen if you got dark enough down that road and got heroin, it wasn't that you got a bad batch of heroin that killed you. It's that you got an actually very good batch of heroin. That's what killed you.
Yeah.
And so the weak, watered down bullshit that you've been getting from your guy for years, all of a sudden you get a real potent dose that got through and you fucking jack yourself with 4 times as much. That's what people die from.
Yeah.
So, having regulations on that, there's real good arguments for that. Have something regulated, and people know at least they're aware of what they're getting.
And that's the thing. Like, since legaling weed, I love it so much because I'm not going to shady areas. I'm not going anywhere crazy. I get these little cute boxes that have facts on the back of what I'm buying. Everything that I'm going to put in my body is on the back of this box, and I can make a decision for myself from there.
Yeah, and I don't know how honest that stuff is, because that's not FDA
so far
approved,
so good.
But I think they've done lab tests on a lot of that stuff, and they're like, they say it's a 5 milligram, but it's actually 105 milligram. Like,
and that's the thing too, is with these companies being actually established companies trying to make a profit, it makes them want to give you a better product that is better. It makes you want to buy their product,
Yeah.
So a lot of these companies are coming out with good shit. They're coming out with better stuff. It's all a lot more safe to get. It's a lot more safe to use.
Yeah.
And with the competition, it's been bringing prices down for everybody.
It'll be interesting to see where it goes long term. If that, they've got to do, I don't know why someone doesn't run on that platform of going, this idea of, weed being a Schedule 1 narcotic. I don't even know if it's Schedule 1 still, but even Schedule 2 and Schedule 3 is a joke for something like marijuana. Like,
it's still Schedule 1, but it's not being prosecuted anymore by the DEA.
Right. Yeah, that's cute. Take it off the Schedule 1 list and make it legal. Like, what, 26 states have done already? Like, and this idea that it's a cash only business, and it's just silly. Is it? I don't think it can federally.
No, it is. The places I go, they will accept card. I think what's been happening is because they are cash only businesses, our smash and grabs were going way up in every single marijuana dispensary.
Really? I would think they'd have security around the clock.
They do, but security doesn't really help you when an SUV drives through your door and 5 people jump out and steal all the money.
So no, for sure. There's ways around it, but how does that work? If it's not federally legal, it's not like you can use the banking system.
I don't know.
That was the problem all along, was you can't use the banks the way.
But last time I went up and bought some stuff, they let me use my card and everything. I had no other problems with it.
Really? That's interesting. I had no idea. I didn't know that's
maybe they have a way to reinvest it or change it to something else, but that's out of my control.
We should do more research on it before talking more about it. But it would be, I think it's a winning platform to go out and go, you know what, let's stop this nonsense. You know, we're going to deregulate it, decriminalize it, and we're going to make it legal federally so that we can earn tremendous amounts of tax dollars from it. We will use some of that money to have programs in place for people that get in trouble with this. Blah blah. You know, there's things you could do, and then, you know, most importantly, you will know exactly what you're getting if you choose to do this. Just like with cigarettes, and just like with alcohol, and any other vice that people have in this country that's legal. We want to keep it as safe and informed as possible.
I don't care if they put a label on the box or a warning. Don't tell me I can't buy it is all.
Exactly. And if they just did that, I think that's a winning thing. I think that alone, you could get so far. I think the American public can handle it. They're not, you know, and I don't know. Maybe it would be a total colossal failure, but it's going back to the fear of raising the speed limit from 55 to 65. And it was like, oh my God, the deaths. And it actually reduced the deaths, you know? Yeah. When those speed limits were instituted, it was like, you know, you're basically riding around on God knows what with no seatbelts. And cars are a lot fucking
I was going to say, even nowadays, 70 seems slow. Like every car is capable of withstanding pretty heavy crashes.
Yeah, my cop buddy.
They're all built to do these turns. They all have self-driving capability at this point.
My cop buddy told me rule of thumb that I use more than I thought I would, and he said our rule was 78, you're great, 79, you're mine. And I was like, oh, okay. It's remarkable how often I look down at my speed limit. I'm like, 78, I'm great.
I did criminal justice in high school.
What's that?
I did criminal justice class in high school, and the best things I learned about it were just how to avoid the cops.
Really?
I found out Livonia.
Don't buy a red car.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like I think red cars are the most pulled over or something like that.
Or even more like intricate info. Like Livonia only has 6 cops on duty at any given time. So usually if you see one cop, you got about 2 miles before you'll see another.
Oh, okay.
Just in the way their patrols work.
Yeah. I believe
Which is good information.
There's a documentary I watched just the other day about a guy he was called Hollywood, and he was in Oregon. He was a bank robber. And the levels that these guys would go to, like knowing that if at this time of day, the bank truck was going to pull up and unload cash or pick up cash, and there's someone watching. And then it's like, you know, at this time, a patrol's going to go around the block, and then they're fucking off for a while. You're not going to see them for 2 more hours. And it was like, as soon as they're gone, pull in. These guys are gone by the time they come out. Like they knew the tricks to how to get the best odds of getting away in that moment. You know.
Yep.
It's kind of wild. Yeah, I bet there's tons of things that you would learn in one of those courses. It should be mandatory. A course like that.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like that should be mandatory in high schools.
Part of that class's like required teaching was how to make resumes and apply for jobs. I'm like, this is just good life skill stuff. Like, why isn't this in regular high school?
G Money's bitched about it for years. Like all the bullshit I learned in high school. Like you couldn't teach me how to balance a checkbook.
No,
really? Like that wasn't part of the fucking lesson ever. Like I got out in the real world and had no clue how to handle my finances or, you know, what that meant.
Apply to college.
Yeah.
Like something that you've been trying to prepare me for the last 4 years. You didn't even teach me how to fill the application out.
Here's the fear I have right now is I paid so little attention that there might be people yelling at their phones or however they're listening going, you dipshits. They taught us that. But G's adamant.
Pretty good grades on time. I do not remember anything about how to
balancing
apply for college.
A checkbook and, you know, dealing with banking and stuff like that. I saw a meme just the other day and some guy had posted, it might have even been a listener, I don't know, but it is posted something along the lines of, yep, year 24, still haven't used fucking algebra once, or something along those lines. It's like, yeah.
Or back in the day when your teachers were like, you better learn this because you won't have a calculator at you at all times. And I'm just sitting here with my phone.
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Isn't that funny how that works out? Yeah, kids, it's never a discussion point, but they're like, yeah, that whole cursive thing you learned, you can throw that away. We don't.
Oh, I had to learn that in kindergarten, and then after about 5th grade, I've never used it again in my life.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't write in cursive. I can, but fact, it's like, yeah, we don't even try to like fuck with that anymore. We don't even make kids try it.
I'd go so far against cursive. In the military, they teach you to write in all capital spaced out letters. So now I write in all caps spaced out letters.
Yeah, I don't do spaced out, but I do all caps.
Yeah.
Just
sometimes they get a little garbled up.
All uppercase.
I write in all caps.
Yeah. I very rarely do I do under, unless it's for a password and it's like I need an uppercase and a lowercase, like then I'll do it. But other than that, never. All uppercase. Cece, you stink. I mean, she just farted. I just got hit in the face. I was like, Garrett, you reek. And I was like, oh yeah, he's not here. Let's do an email or two, and then we'll get out of here for the day, Garrett. Let's see here. Did I read this one? Shaggy and Faggy yesterday?
No, I didn't remember that.
Positive email from Mike.
Am I Shaggy or Faggy? Because I feel like I could be both right now.
No, Shaggy would probably be me with my shaggy hair, and you're Faggy for obvious reasons.
Yeah, okay.
But you could be Shaggy and Faggy.
I kind of look like,
he could have said Shaggy and Faggy.
Yeah.
Would have probably been a good way to go. Mike, right. The show has been really good lately. Lately, you've been sounding and looking good. Hope this cheers you up. You're humble and obedient servant. NFL Bob. God, I love NFL Bob. Good. Thank you, buddy. I needed that. I needed some positive vibes from people. Garrett.
Uh-oh.
May want to ease up on the anti-British talk before they haul you in. They never surrendered. In fact, the treaty signed actually only allow for self-governance. Technically, we are under British rule, as we're on the king's land. Why do you think we fought on the wrong side of 2 world wars?
First, that's from James, I can tell, because once you say wrong side of 2 world wars, I'm like, oh, so he wants to be with the Germans on both those.
Yeah.
I see what he means by that, but at the same time...
I don't. You'll have to explain it to me, honestly.
I'm still calling out the British only because I talk to a lot of people over there in the UK right now, and I'm getting messages that quite literally read, hey, man, I'm starting to really understand that 1776 thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been quite fun. I just talked to a girl who lives out in Essex just yesterday, and she was telling me that she's actually looking for a way out because she's afraid of anything coming up in her past history, Facebook post. Anything that the government doesn't like is now jail time.
Yeah, people don't think about that stuff. People don't think about repercussions of stuff. Like it sounds cute in a soundbite of like who's not against hate speech?
No.
Who like hate speech is bad. We all get that. Like who wouldn't want to? And it's like, yeah, but it doesn't stop with stuff like that. That's not how that works.
Keeps rolling.
And, yeah. And so yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all that people would be like, fuck, I posted this when I was 20, 10 years ago. Now what? Does that come up? And it's like, you're guilty of, with those clowns, I wouldn't fucking doubt it. I mean, you have people literally taking to microphones and cameras saying, we're coming for you. If you post something that could cause blah, 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 and it's all bullshit. None of it, you can't prove any of it. It's all kind of coded language in garbage. But I mean, I'd laugh at it. It's like, okay, come see you in Scottsdale. Let's see how this goes. Because we say shit that would be horribly offensive to them. I don't know what they do about it. It's fucking hilarious. Let's see. If you like scary movies, all right. This is from Francis.
Okay.
I have one for you. Hello, friends. Mr. Webster mentioned that even heights seen through a television screen give him the willies. Yeah, that's new the last few years. That was never the case. I was never afraid of heights.
Interesting.
Climbed mountaintops, skied mountains, been on every
I've got a weird height thing too. I get it.
It's weird. Like, I don't know what it is, my own mortality. Maybe it's because I'm not as stable on my feet like I was when I was a kid. I would have done cartwheels on a fucking ledge of a building when I was a kid. I wouldn't have cared at all. But
it's weird for me too. Like I can be up on a mountainside and look over a cliff. I can climb up a mountainside just fine. But if you throw me on like an edge of a railing or a building that's too high up, I'm a little freaked out. Like, oh, hold on, I don't like
dude,
this.
it can freak me out in a mall now. If I'm on the third level of a mall and look over the edge, I'm like, oh God,
I don't like it.
I have a movie suggest that should push you to the boundaries of your comfort level. It's called Free Solo. I may have seen part of this. It came gross out in 2018. It's a documentary about a free solo rock climber.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Alex Honnold is an attempt to become the first person to climb El Capitan in Yosemite. When I say climb, I'm talking no ropes, just chalk bag for his hands and rock climbing shoes. Pretty damn incredible. Footnote, Alex's brain has been CAT scanned. He responds differently than the average person when he's exposed to heights, kind of like Hannibal Lecter when he's murdering people. Yours truly. Interesting. I've seen you've seen it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's very scary for this guy. Alex Honnold is actually one of the world's best free solo climbers. He just finds a fucking cliffside. He hits angles that you wouldn't think are possible to grab onto.
I've seen some of those. Who's the guy that was missing a finger?
Oh, I don't know.
He lost a finger and was still like the premier rock climber. But yeah, inevitably those stories end with the one day it doesn't go the right way.
Oh, it looks like he also lost a finger. If this is the same guy, it should be Tommy Caldwell.
Maybe. I can't remember. Did he die rock climbing?
Yeah, said he was missing a finger.
Yeah.
I'm just looking into his book.
Is he still alive? Do you know? Or did he fall? I can't remember. I've seen a few of those documentaries.
He's alive.
He is. Okay.
Yep,
I may 46. Have even seen the one that he was talking about, Free Solo or whatever. Yeah. I may have even seen that one. If it came out in 2018, but whatever.
Yep.
Thank you for the tip. Maybe I'll check it out and see if I remember it. It'll probably give me the willies though. All right, Garrett, have a great rest of the day, buddy. Plan on doing it tomorrow.